Okay, so now I have another question. You know, a lot of us military personnel, we don't realize that when we go overseas or we get deployed, that our families get deployed with us, and they're left home sometimes having to do double duty. I talked to a military wife last week, and she said, the stress is doubled on her because not only is she raising the kids now, but now she's handling all the finances.
Right.
And, like when we're overseas, we know, all right, we have a job to do. We know the enemy, that's our job, and we can focus on that. But when, like, my wife, she's my bride, my best friend, and she deals with me and all three of my kids in the household build and everything. So without her, this world would not run in my eyes. So talk to us about the military spouse and what they go through when somebody's deployed.
So from what I've been told, when a spouse is left home after her or his spouse deploys, is he or she becomes the de facto CEO of the home, and they take on everything, from managing the kids to the household, the finances, and in some cases, having to move. So he's deployed and she's packing up the house and the kids and having to move to a new base or a new location. So there's a great deal of responsibility that's put on the spouse, irrespective of whether or not the active duty member is at home or deployed. Because even when they're home, there's probably a good chance that they're working a lot and going through a lot of different high tempo trainings where they're not home or available anyway. So the spouse takes on a much different role, and in some cases, when I'll just for just the ease of the conversation, we'll just play it out as it's the man who's deployed and the wife that's at home. But he comes home from deployment and she's got the household running like a well-oiled machine, and sometimes it becomes a little bit of a challenge of how do you plug him back in so that it's not disruptive to the overall dynamic and rhythm. And I think that's what I hear a lot more, is having to negotiate how to plug him back in. And then on the other side of the transition, I always like to make sure that the guys that I'm working with understand, or